Welcome. My name is Henning Pisunka. I'm an assistant professor at INSEAD in the entrepreneurship department. Today, with us, Randy Commissar, senior partner at Kleiner Perkins. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, Henning.
Give me a feeling for your motivation as an investor, right? There's obviously a financial dimension to it, right? You look at an investment and say like, hey, this is going to take off, this is going to be great, we're going to make a bunch of money. Would it be fair to say that there's also like, I don't know, a technological fascination that you kind of want to foster kind of certain areas? Can you elaborate a little bit on what kind of gets you to invest in a business or gets you excited about something?
Well, I think every investor is idiosyncratic. I'm probably more idiosyncratic than most. I frankly do not look first and foremost at whether the venture is going to make me a lot of money. That is not my first criteria. My first criteria is, does it solve a meaningful problem? Is it going to make a difference? Is it going to have impact that is going to get me excited, enthusiastic about working hard on the project, and is going to make me proud if the project's successful? So I will not invest in a company, even if the company has a very, very strong likelihood of making money, if it's doing something that I don't care about. In particular, I won't invest in a company if it's doing something that I disagree with. So first and foremost, I look for problems to solve. That's the first criteria. Big problems where I can have an impact. Number two is I look for people who share my values and who I believe I can make a positive and constructive contribution to in their own development as leaders and as entrepreneurs. So I need to find that chemistry with the founding team. Even if they're solving a big problem, if I don't have that chemistry where I feel like I share their values, if I'm going to be willing to take that distress call at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, if I don't feel that level of engagement with the person, I won't do it. Third, I need to find value creation, not a business model, but value creation. And the reason I differentiate between value creation and business model is it's my job to create a business model. I'm a student of business models. That's what I bring to the table, is the application of business models to a unique value proposition. So I look for big problems, people who I share values with and who I believe in, and a proposition where I can create significant value and hopefully develop a business model around that.
The way you describe this is you work with people you like, who you have a joint value system and so on. And so I wondered, in most cases it still happens that the venture goes nowhere, right?
Yes.
The venture fails. How often does it happen that you continue to work with people on like new ventures or later on, or bring them into other ventures? Is that a frequent phenomenon, or?
Well, in my career, I've tended to work with the same people or with a small group of people who are one degree separated for almost 30 years. There's always new people coming into the fold, but by and large, if I have that relationship with them, if they're doing interesting work, if they continue to have interesting ideas, I continue to work with them on whatever they're doing.
You go with people through a failed venture and then kind of say like,
yes,
we'll do this again?
If you fail in Silicon Valley for a reason other than being corrupt, lazy, or stupid, then you've gotten an education and I want to get the benefit of that education. There's so much circumstance. The thing that we don't talk about much in entrepreneurship is the role of luck. We're taking big risks. We're taking risks on things outside our control. We're not simply lining up plans where if we execute, we will succeed. We are taking the risk of product market fit. We're taking the risk of competition. We're taking the risk of the ability to develop products on time, on schedule, at costs that are going to actually be attractive to customers. All of those risks are taking on early in the project, and we have no idea if we can actually solve those risks.
So I fully agree with the luck. I wonder how you internally kind of deal with that when it comes to attribution, right? Bess Seidenberg might say one thing, John Durr might say another. You might go for the venture, and then at the end you might say like, oh, that was really bad luck, right? So it's difficult then to actually to process it, right? So I wonder how this works. How do you do like a post-mortem? How do you deal internally with failure? How do you deal with it? How do you, in the compensation system, how do you process through that?
We do post-mortems regularly. I don't find them very useful. because they become a rewriting of history. It's like doing case studies or writing business books. And you're always writing them in retrospect and then fitting the facts to fit a thesis. And so I find that postmortems are largely around reconstruing the facts to fit a thesis. I personally believe that if you're going to be a great venture capitalist, you have to have a philosophy of dealing with failure and accepting risk, and also understanding the role of luck in it. I learn a lot from gambling. And that's not to say that I think about venture capital as gambling per se. I actually don't. But my father was a professional gambler, and so I learned by watching over his shoulder a lot about gambling. I learned about the bad beat. The bad beat, meaning you've made a good decision, but the facts turn out to be different, or something intercedes. You can't remake that decision, and in fact, you made a good decision. You can't go back and question that decision because it was a good decision. It just turns out that reality ensued, and you can't do anything about that. There's something called the tilt, which is when you start making a series of bad bets, one after the other. This happens in gambling all the time. It happens in venture capital. As you begin to chase the elusive big whale, the white whale of success, you begin to compound your errors because you're so anxious to get that one win that will pay for all of your losses, right? There's the pot odds problem, which is when you forget the risks and just look at the size of the pot and begin to bid up the pot, even against the best analysis you can do about the return on risk. These are things that happen in gambling all the time. Venture capitalists tend to be ignorant of all of these various different gambling phenomena. But I think venture capital can be well informed by things like a bad beat or the tilt or pot odds.
Thank you so much. This was a truly great pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for inviting me. INSEAD is a fantastic experience. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And thanks for this discussion.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.